Hello, respectful viewers. My God, my hair is crazy even by my standards. But anyway, um, so this video is about King Charles because it was only yesterday afternoon the not so gladsome tidings were announced that His Britannic Majesty is cancer stricken, and they said it was during a routine, inspection, whatever you say, examination for this benign prostate problem. Now, how can prostate problems have any benignity to them? I mean, I can tell you the malignance of such things. They didn't say that it was a prostate cancer; it was just discovered during that procedure. Okay, so surprising is they tell us medical matters are private, which made me think, is that serious? You might say, well, wait a second, how can a cancer possibly be unserious? Well, there are some cancers, which I'm told are relatively trifling, of certain parts of the body, if caught very early, stage one, can be cured very easily. That there's a survival rate of over 95%. So methinks that this one with a survival rate is not that high. I'm not saying there's a survival rate of like 10%. And the other possibility is they're telling us partly because he's going to be out of circulation for a while, that whilst it's very curable, he won't be able to perform his duties for weeks, maybe. A couple of days, they could cover up as some trifling illness. Is it a newfound openness? We're a new generation. He's 22 years younger than the late Queen, and he's just more overt about things. But this is a private medical matter. It doesn't need to be disclosed. The Queen wouldn't say what was wrong with her. Patent it was mobility problems, and the word got out that she was using a wheelchair in private, saving her strength to walk it when public, and that's why she had to miss a lot of those key events, even at her own Platinum Jubilee in 2022, just about 3 months before she died. The word on the street is that she died of bone cancer and stopped treatment several months before she was called to her reward. So Charles III has only been on the throne for not even 18 months, and thinking, wow, is he going to die? These things can happen. I mean, I can't think that the shortest reign in British history or English history who was caught short. The kings of Scots, I don't know enough about. Our high kings in Ireland, I mean, I don't know enough about them because some of them are like semi-mythical. But obviously there was a Kaiser of Germany. Was it Wilhelm I? Died after only 99 days in office. No, it's Friedrich, Wilhelm I's son. Anyway, so he's having some regular treatments, and therefore he's not going to be carrying out his public duties. But he will still be signing documents, reading documents, and stuff like that. We're told that he is ebullient, so he's always someone who's almost always upbeat, at least in public. So his son and heir, the Prince of Wales, is deputising for him. Remember, the eldest son of the monarch, since the reign of Edward I, has always had the title the Prince of Wales. So that is Prince William. So he's going to discharge his father's duties whilst his father is temporarily incapacitated. But yeah, I mean, there is some sort of possibility that Charles III is going to die of this, and maybe actually quite soon. As I say, only possibility. I don't think it's likely. Obviously, he's going to have the best medical care in the world, but even the most outstanding doctor is not a magician. And if you're absolutely doomed, there's no doctor in the world that could save you. But he'd have a better chance than almost everybody else. I think just how healthy Prince Charles is. How old is he now? Is he 77 now? No, 75. I think he's born 1948. His birthday is November. Is it 8th of November? Anyway, so but to bear in mind that he's always been a healthy weight. He never eats luncheon. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. He eats that. Dinner, he often has to have dinner, official dinner, so he eats that. And lunch, that saves time by not having a midday repast. Moreover, he's in public view so much, the photographer would catch him in mid-chew, like gurning his face. So that's why, and also he wants to zealously guard his waistline. Other things to bear in mind, he hasn't smoked since he was a teenager. He scarcely touches alcohol, probably not got too many sexually transmitted diseases. And the food he eats obviously is extraordinarily healthy. It's all slow food, no ultra processed junk, small amounts. Even his worst enemy could never accuse him of being overweight, and that's the case with most of them. I mean, Tony Blair has always been slender. Said that when he went to Balmoral, that's the royal family's private house in Aberdeenshire, and the Prime Minister, since the reign of Queen Victoria, since 1861, has always gone up for there for August. Said he noticed that the royal family ate very sparingly, and that's coming from a slim man. So that's why you'd think that King Charles would be the rudest of health for a man of his age. But obviously, he could still be caught by the big C in the claws of the crab. But so even if he completely survives this, he might be enfeebled, perhaps permanently. So the Archbishop of Canterbury is leading the Commonwealth's prayers from him. The thrice cursed Prince Harry is coming back from his self-imposed exile in California. Boo! Please don't. That'll be the last nail in the coffin. Um, so some people have commended the monarch by disclosing his cancer diagnosis. Does that mean that more people get themselves checked out and it will raise awareness and blah blah blah? But yeah, it's just possible that he will die. Now there could be a regency, and that's where a monarch is unable to carry out his or her regal functions, and therefore a regency has to be declared, and someone else will be king in all but name. So the most famously, this was the case with King George III when he was stricken by porphyria in 1788, this disease which attacked him intermittently for the rest of his life till he died in 1820. So he'd have insane episodes. Then he would have clarity of mind and return to sanity for a while. He probably had porphyria, this hereditary disease. There's another theory by the medical historians, because of course they couldn't really diagnose these things in 1788, that it wasn't some of the chemicals in the wigs reacted with him. And when he was under the care of that Dr. Willis, sometimes labouring in that garden, was now Kew Gardens, that he took his wig off, and after a few months, the toxins were out of his mind. It's taken a big build-up, because remember, this is a disease that only really attacked him. And when was it? Well, at the age of 48 for the first time that it first became obvious. And he obviously got worse and was eventually blind. But the last 9 years of his life, his youngest son, the Prince Regent, took over. The Prince Regent, who was later George IV. There are other times there was a Lord Protector, effectively regent. For instance, Richard III was a Lord Protector for his sons, the princes in the Tower, who were Edward IV and Richard of Shrewsbury, the two boys he probably murdered, so didn't protect them very well. There were other examples of this, and likewise in Scotland. I'm not sure in Ireland if we ever had a regency. Cromwell took the title Lord Protector as well of Ireland and indeed Great Britain. But it doesn't look like it's going to come to that. Various councils of state, high-ranking members of the royal family who can fill in for the monarchy, but the monarch. And to actually get a regency, you have to have various people to certify it. The most senior judges, like the Lord Chief Justice or the Master of the Rolls. Lord Chief Justice in charge of the criminal division, Master of the Rolls in charge of the civil division of the courts. Because otherwise, Prince William could just push his father out and declare himself regent when his father coughed once, had some very minor illness. So it has to be signed off by this other senior members of the royal family. Yes, so that he is so severely ill that he's unable to perform his duties as the head of state, and therefore someone else is going to have to perform them until such time as the king recovers, if he ever does. But yeah, it's probably not going to come to that. Right, anyway, thank you so much for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, and I'm expecting ginormous donations on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Toodaloo.